That's when we said, you know what? Maybe we need to come and fill this hole and do something about it. And so we created BooXKeeping. It started in the garage in 2011, still running the maintenance business. I was doing it part-time, getting the clients. Part-time, I was running the landscape maintenance company, part-time bookkeeping. My wife was doing part-time bookkeeping at home because she had two kids and was more than a full-time mom. And then we were able to sell the maintenance business for profit and opened an office. Bookkeeping started as a real business where we started doing full time and hired employees. And that was the beginning of bookkeeping. But in the beginning, it was just the local San Diego bookkeeping company.
But I am the world's biggest super fan.
You're like a super fan.
Welcome to the Business Superfans Podcast. We will discuss how establishing business superfans from customers, employees, and business partners can elevate your success exponentially. Learn why these advocates are a key factor to achieving excellence in the world of commerce. We discuss the invaluable insights of business owners who have successfully implemented the strategies in the book to build their own team of devoted superfans. Gain insightful knowledge from the experts who create applications that help you create passionate superfans. This is the Business Superfans Podcast with your host, Freddie D.
Ready!
Hey, Freddie D here. Today's guest, Max Emma, has an incredible story of resilience, entrepreneurship, and reinvention. Arriving in the U.S. at just 18 years old from the former Soviet Union with no money, no friends, and no English. Max supported himself through college, graduating with honors in finance. After a short stint in corporate America, he pivoted to help grow his family's small landscaping business to nearly 100 employees. But when the 2008 financial crisis hit, he lost it all. An experience that ultimately led him to his true passion, helping business owners stay financially healthy. Max went on to found BooXKeeping, that's BooXKeeping, where today he is the preferred bookkeeping provider for over 100 franchise brands and operates across all 50 states. Inspired by the franchisors he worked with, he began franchising BooXKeeping and growing it nationally, empowering others to achieve business ownership. Max also runs a franchise brokerage, helping aspiring entrepreneurs find the right franchise fit, all at no cost to them. Outside of his businesses, Max is a world traveler who's visited 46 countries and 26 U.S. states. He's a proud dad of two, a live theater fan, a fitness enthusiast, and someone who knows how to enjoy fine single malt scotch paired with a Cuban cigar. Welcome to the Business Superfans Podcast show this afternoon. Max, how are you?
Great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
We're excited to have you and share your story. What is your story? What is the backstory? You come from Russia. I come from France. So we're both immigrants in this country. Let me share the story of how you came here and how you ended up with bookkeepings and now a franchise with Max and other things.
So I came into the United States about 32 years ago, and my parents brought me here. We immigrated because my older brother already was in the country. We came to beautiful San Diego, California. It was a huge change. It was Russia barely a year after Soviet Union collapsed. So it was a completely different world. Imagine you listening to the radio or watching TV and they're telling you the country ceased to exist as of tomorrow. And you're like, what do you mean? So that's exactly what we went through when Soviet Union ended the end of 1991. So 92 was a lot of fun, quote unquote. And then we came January of 1993. So I came to San Diego, started learning English. I could speak a little bit, but could not understand much because I didn't have a lot of practice. So I had to come up with my own know-how, how to learn English fast, because I knew if I speak English and learn how to do it fast, I can get a better job. What I was actually doing, too bad I couldn't trademark it at the time, I was just going to payphone and calling all the credit card companies. Back then, All the call centers were located in the United States. So I was speaking to them for 40, 45 minutes, talking back and forth why I cannot get a credit card from this particular company. So I was practicing English with the native speaker for 40, 45 minutes. I knew the answer right away. I didn't have a credit history. I would not get a credit card. But I'm like,
Right.
okay, great. And then I would call again to a different one. And I would do that 3 hours every day. And I
Wow.
picked up my English really fast and was able to find a good job and was able to go to college and graduate and get a job in corporate America. The rest is history.
So how did books keeping come about?
So BooXKeeping, it wasn't the first company that I owned. When I got tired of corporate America, I just understood it wasn't for me. I've always been joking that I was really bad in kissing butts. I was always kissing the wrong one because they still made you do that, but I wasn't getting promoted. I'm like, no, something is off.
Working.
I gave a 2-week notice and left a well-paid job. They were paying for my MBA, and I saw the promotion coming. Joined a small family business and grew it from 3 employees to 96 employees. It was construction business, doing great until the recession of 08 or 09 started. We were specializing in building small tract homes, doing landscaping for them, and San Diego was booming, and we were busy buying trucks, equipment. I had 96 employees at its best, and then they just stopped building. I ended up with all the cranes, all the equipment, everything, all the loans that I had to pay, and practically zero income. So we did not have a choice but to declare bankruptcy because it was a construction business. It was a requirement to personal guarantee most of the stuff. So we had to do personal bankruptcy. With one baby at home and one on the way, that was pretty scary. I honestly thought this was the end of the world. Bankruptcy growing up in the Soviet Union was one of the worst. This was like, oh my God, this is the end of your life. Being young and naive, this is it. I'm done as person, as businessman, as anybody. I'm going to go and find a job. And I started looking for a job. And luckily for me, there were no jobs available. There was absolutely nothing available in 08 or 09 because, a lot of people were going through similar things.
I'm one of those guys that went through it as well. I was selling construction management software to home builders. They didn't need any of the technology that the subdivisions they were running away from.
Exactly.
So I went through the same thing. So I completely have empathy.
Yeah, so that was my luck. It made me start business again. This time it was maintenance. This time we were more successful. I was running the business with my co-founder, Elena, who was my wife at the time. She had master's in accounting. I had bachelor in finance. We understood the numbers, but we were so busy growing the company and it was happening so fast. We didn't have time to slow down and look at the numbers. And we were saying, wouldn't it be nice if we had a bookkeeping company who would be doing it for us? And that's 08 or 09, not a lot of companies exist. One person show doing bookkeeping from home. There weren't too many bookkeeping enterprises back then. So we talked about it and forgot about it. When we opened the maintenance company, we grew enough and decided, hey, we can do bookkeeping ourselves. Let's hire somebody. I went out and got 20 estimates from different people, and the range was from $200 to $2,000 for exactly the same scope of work. My finance background told me something is wrong. You cannot have a fork that large.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Absolutely, for exactly the same scope of work. And that's when we said, you know what? Maybe we need to come and fill this hole and do something about it. And so we created BooXKeeping. It started in the garage in 2011. Still running the maintenance business. I was doing it part-time, getting the clients. Part-time, I was running the landscape maintenance company. Part-time BooXKeeping. My wife was doing part-time bookkeeping at home because she had 2 kids and was more than a full-time mom. And then we were able to sell the maintenance business for profit and opened an office. BooXKeeping started as a real business where we started doing full-time and hired employees. And that was the beginning of BooXKeeping. But in the beginning, it was just the local San Diego bookkeeping company.
And I want to ask a question. What was it that you guys did that was different than others that attracted the customers that you did to start scaling BooXKeeping?
That's a good question, Frederick. We looked at it as a business. First of all, in the beginning, we had a business plan. So I had businesses before, consulting, I never had a business plan. We were told in business school, always have a business plan. I'm like, yeah, right. It's like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to grow it until I grow it. Why do I need a plan to do that? For this business, we actually had a business plan from the beginning. We treated it as business. We started hiring employees, understanding that we can't do everything by ourselves. And that's what made it successful. Running it as a business has its cons because if you are an executive and you're not working on the client, you're the last person to get paid. You have to pay people who actually work on the client. You have to pay everything and everybody. And then if you're lucky and there is money left in the company, then you're getting paid. But that's how you scale, in my opinion. And that's what was successful for us. And then also the name from day one, we're like, no, we're not going to just call it Max's Bookkeeping or San Diego South Bookkeeping. We're like, let's give it a name that actually has a trademark. And that's how BooXKeeping came to, how we got an idea. We changed one letter and we were able to trademark it and reserve the name. And now BooXKeeping is our concept. And I'm having a lot of joy when people like saying, well, I've done my BooXKeeping for last year. So people actually mix the words bookkeeping and BooXKeeping. That's awesome. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Took a while.
You've created a unique brand for yourself.
Absolutely.
So when you were dealing with customers, you know, I talk a lot about creating super fans of your employees, your customers. So let's talk about, and maybe you can share a story of how you've transformed someone's financial situation to where they became the super fan of BooXKeeping and told everybody else about it, that they became your biggest brand advocates, but I prefer calling them business super fans because it's a cooler name.
Well, I believe that the most valuable thing that we as humans have, besides health, is our time. Can a person do their own bookkeeping? Absolutely. QuickBooks, for example, is designed for non-accountants. But in finance, there is such thing as an opportunity cost. If it takes us 3 hours to do the bookkeeping, it might take them 6 hours. And then BooXKeeping comes in and gives them 6 hours a month back. My question is always, what's the opportunity cost? What can you do with this 6 hours? Can you spend them with your family? Can you sleep extra 6 hours a month? Or if you want to grow your business, how many calls can you make in 6 hours? Whatever your success rate is, how many new clients can you get? And people are like, we never thought about it. We had a client, true story. He was a partner in a law firm and a former CPA. Every Sunday, he was doing bookkeeping himself because how to do it. His wife was upset that he wasn't spending time with the family and the kids. He was doing it, and that's his words, not mine. Then, finally, after many years, he decided to outsource it. He found us by somebody introduced. I don't remember. It's been a while. We started doing it. We gave him the monthly fee. It was less than his hourly rate. So the guy was wasting every Sunday for what he is billing for 1 hour. His words was like, oh my God, I wasted so much time by not letting other people doing it. I got my time back. So that's what creates super fans for BooXKeeping, because we give people their time back.
People don't realize it, but time is the most expensive commodity in the universe. You can't buy more of it, or you can't buy it back. It doesn't matter how rich you are. It's gone.
I agree. A lot of people look at it, well, I'm only going to come for a few hours every Saturday morning or whenever and just get stuff done. I'm like, you don't understand. It's not about you coming and doing it. It's more like not letting go, which is, a big deal. You won't be able to really grow your business until you start doing it and outsource most of the stuff and start working on the business and not in the business. But Second of all, just sleep in for extra couple hours. If you work 60-hour week, your body will thank you later on for just doing that. I know a lot of people that are still doing bookkeeping themselves. And Frederick, they can afford to do it with somebody like us or somebody else.
There's a concept in business wanting to understand economics. If I hand it off and I'm an individual that likes things to be perfect, but I freed up my time and cost, that's worth it. Because of the simple fact that it's okay, it may not be microscopically perfect to where you want it because those perfectionists think that they're the only ones who can do it. Right. But the reality is with those freed up hours, I can make more phone calls. I can spend time with the family, focus on other strategies to grow the business, or I can just go on a vacation for the day. And that trade is, you can't buy that.
I agree. I was on the receiving end of that as well, trying to do everything myself and not outsourcing a lot of my functions. And I've seen the real growth of not only the company, but my internal growth is when I started doing it for exactly the same reason you said, because I can do it better. When somebody making small mistakes, I'm like, oh my God, how hard is it to figure it out? It's so easy. Let me show you. And then I get going and get it done.
You're back in it.
And I just wasted 3 hours of my time. So I'm
Yeah.
learning to step away. Real growth that I've noticed took me from A to Z really fast when I finally hired the executive assistant. And I was able to outsource most of my admin stuff. I still find stuff to do that should be outsourced, and I'm still guilty. I'm not perfect. I'm working on it. But I'm looking back, I was doing it all myself. I remember 10 p.m., I was watching a show and doing proposals at home. And I was kidding myself saying, but I'm not really working. I'm watching Netflix. It's fun. Well, I'm watching a couple episodes.
Next thing you know, it's 2:00 in the morning.
Exactly. Yes, I was watching, but ask me what was the show about. I was like, I don't know. Was it even on? I was concentrating on the proposals, but I wasn't really working. I had dinner. Maybe I had a little bit of scotch. I got it done. But then when you look back, I worked long hours, and that's not right. Now, executive assistant, we get the proposal done within 15, 20 minutes after I have a meeting with the client, which enables me to have more meetings in a shorter period of time.
Exactly.
Because I'm not the one scheduling it. I'm not the one doing the follow-ups, reminding people, hey, don't forget to show up. Max is waiting. We have a meeting. All done, either automatic reminders or I have a live person doing it for me.
So how did you evolve into franchising BooXKeeping?
So BooXKeeping was a local bookkeeping company in San Diego. I started going to Orange County, California, a little bit, LA to branch out, but still it was San Diego company. By accident, somebody introduced us to a franchisor. This franchisor gave us one of his franchisees to do bookkeeping for. So we did it, then they gave us another one. I said, why don't we start exploring franchising? I didn't know anything about franchising other than McDonald's was a franchise. Now I know McDonald's wasn't the first one, and it goes back to 19th century in the United States. I honestly thought McDonald's was the first one in the US. I had no idea that a lot of shops been using were franchises. So that also came as a shock. I started going to franchise expos, and we got another franchise and another franchise. Now, to make the story short, BooXKeeping is the preferred bookkeeping provider for over 100 franchise brands in all 50 states. Fast Sport Clips, Mrs. Fields. There are a lot of different brands that we are doing bookkeeping for, and a lot of emerging ones that started small. We're doing one right now. They sold 800 locations in a year and a half. It's the hormone clinic for men. We're doing probably close to 100 locations. So really, I just started getting it one by one. I started going to the franchise expos, and I really like it to be in the room with those franchisors. It's absolutely normal when you see two competing franchisors that each has over 3,000 units sitting at the bar at night at the conference, having a drink and talking to each other, even though they're actually competing for the same franchisees, same employees. They're friends. They don't have nothing to fight about because they believe in abundance. They believe it's enough for everybody. And I'm like, wow, that's great. I just came back from Las Vegas a couple days ago. The biggest franchise expo was there. About 4,000 people were in presence. I go every year. We have a booth. And as a franchisor, learn a lot. And I just stopped the CEO of a company that has over 6,000 units. I don't want to give a name, but if I would, you definitely know the name because it's in every city. I told him who I was. Max, a franchisor with 13 units, and I had questions for him. We talked for over 20 minutes. He answering my questions, gave me his cell phone number, said, text me and we'll schedule another call if you have more questions. That's what people do in franchising.
Well, but see, that's what they're doing is they're creating a super fan out of you because he took the time to talk to you and more importantly, connected with you personally and gave his personal information. You're talking about it right now. So what that person did is transform you into a fan of his because he took the time of day to recognize you and acknowledge you and provide you with value. And that's the difference between good leaders and wannabe leaders.
I agree with you 100%, Frederick. And also, I think it's the concept of paying it forward because he helped me. Yes, I have 13 franchisees right now, but there are a lot of people at this conference that have zero and they're just dreaming about the franchising and actually stop and talk to me. I help as much as I can because now I do have the expertise. That's what attracted me into franchising. I was in the room with these people. I was in the room with them as a supplier, and I was always joking, I want to be like them when I grow up. I want to be in this room with these people as a franchisor, as equal. And we're not talking about the number of units. We're talking about just being a franchisor. And started researching. Long story short, we started the franchisor journey. And now we are a franchisor selling, and we are in 6 or 7 states now, looking for more good franchisees. And we are getting them. I think we're going to double, if not more, before the end of 2025.
Oh, what an incredible story. And it's really about building those relationships and buying back your time and leveraging your team. You can't scale, you can't manage franchisees if you don't have a team.
Yes, and we have growing pains like everybody has growing pains.
Sure.
We're dealing with them. We're learning from them. I strongly believe in the concept that whatever happens, happens not to me, but for me.
Correct.
So I'm looking back, the bankruptcy that I had, I was the end of the world at the time. Now I'm very grateful because I learned a lot. Looking backwards, it was a great experience. I call it my best MBA because I learned what to do and most importantly, what not to do. It helped me a lot in life, still helping. At the time, it seemed like a tragedy.
Sure. What advice do you have for a business owner about their financing and things like that? Especially for someone running a small business, because one of the things a lot of people don't understand is net income and profit margin. They're focusing more on gross sales and then find out they're negative or they're not categorizing things properly. I'm sure you've run into hundreds of those.
Oh, yeah. We see it all the time, people doing it wrong or only doing the profit and loss, but not the balance sheet and don't know their cash, their assets, how much money they owe, and so on. So, yeah, we see that all the time. It's a cliche, but the advice I can give is know your numbers. At least 50% I meet of the small business owners do not know their numbers. They're like, my CPA is looking at my financials and files my tax return. I'm like, this is not it, because by the time you go see your CPA in February, March, or April of next year, this year is gone. There is nothing they can do. They cannot go back. You cannot buy the time back. So this is it. You pretty much missed it. You have to have your regular financials done at least monthly. For some businesses, weekly. We have some clients that we work on a daily basis, but they're bigger businesses. Not everybody needs daily or weekly. Monthly is a good start, but at least monthly. And when you have your monthly financials, make sure they're finished bookkeeping to finish financials for the clients by the end of the following months. So at least it's 30 days in arrears, sometimes sooner. Are we late sometimes for different reasons? Yes. We are working on not being late. A lot of the time, it's not on us. It's on the client not getting back to us because we have questions. It's a two-way street. We can't have every answer because we are not in the business every day. If the client is ghosting us for 1 week and then shows up and, well, here are your answers. I need my financials by tomorrow because I'm meeting with my banker. I'm like, well, good luck. Not happening. I'm not dropping everything we're doing and working on your stuff because you were ghosting us for all this time. So it's going to go in the queue and we're going to get it to you, but you'll have to wait. But I have a meeting. Well, should have answered to us a week ago, and then we would have most likely get you your stuff by today.
Yeah, people unfortunately think of themselves and don't think of the others that are involved in the equation. And when you're working with partners, you've got to have a partner mindset because it takes a team to accomplish the goals and scale a business. And you've got to have the right communications bi-directional, timely for it to happen. Otherwise, as you just said, it can't happen.
Agreed.
So let's talk a little bit more about the franchise stuff. How are you guys going about attracting franchisees to your franchise?
Oh, took me a while to understand what's attracting people. It's a relatively simple business. It's bookkeeping. But then I realized it's the storytelling. It's the bookkeeping franchise. Everything that happened before in my life and my co-founder's life, Elena, she's a huge part of the business. We started the business together. We were married at the time. We are no longer married, but we're still running the business together. When people tell you divorce is the end of everything, no, we have two beautiful kids that we love, and we work on the business, and we're still friends, even though we haven't been married for over 10 years. They're looking at our stories, and they're like, well, we want to know more. We want to understand what's going on. Until probably last year, Frederick, maybe year before, I was scared to tell people about the bankruptcy. So I was leaving all the stuff out of the story because I was ashamed. Then I told myself, why? That's part of my life. I didn't do anything illegal. I did my best. It did not work out for me. And I legally declared bankruptcy and legally got discharged. So why I cannot talk about it? That's something in my head. I worked through my own issues and now I'm telling people because a lot of people go maybe not bankruptcy, but a lot of downs in their life. Hey, I haven't seen a single person who was always up. Something always going on. And some people stay there because they're just so depressed and
Can't snap out of it. They can't snap out of it. And they have no support system to help them snap out of it.
Absolutely. When they hear our stories, they're like, maybe there is light at the end of the tunnel. Bookkeeping culture is huge. We are not separating business from personal because I don't believe you can come to work and snap out of your personal life. You have issues at home, you're going to be thinking about it. If you screwed up at work, you cannot come home and forget immediately. Or if something bad happened, you're going to be thinking about it. You can't snap out of it. I always give an example. While I was going to college, I was working for Costco. Great job. I loved it. They even gave me scholarship to go to university. I had a great time and met a lot of people being a cashier. But when I was going on vacation, nobody was waiting outside of Costco, waiting for Max to come back. my desk wasn't full, so I started from where I ended. When I go on vacation, now I'm delegating, so it's getting a little better. But before that, if I'm gone and I don't check my emails, I have to answer 800 emails sitting in my inbox. Okay? So yes, I'm going on vacation. I'm enjoying it, but then I'm thinking about the price that I have to pay. People need some help to see that there are other ways, that there is something you can do. So I started telling people the story about the problems that I had as a business person, what I learned from it, how we pivoted. And then I can see that people like, well, maybe this is not the end of the world.
But I think people can relate and go, well, you're approachable, you're genuine, you're authentic. And that becomes genuinely attractive. And like you said earlier, Sir Richard Branson says it best. There is no difference between work and personal life. It's called life. It's both. There is only one life. When you go to work, you're still living. You're going on vacation, you're still living. You're sleeping, you're still living. But it's all part of life.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And we are giving it to our employees and to our franchisees, and we are treating everybody as a family, and family has its issues. And sometimes if a member of the family is not behaving, then we send them away. So it's not that everybody who starts working for BooXKeeping works for us. Two of our right-hand people been with us for 7 and 10 years accordingly. They've been with us for a long time and started as junior part-time people. Everybody who start working for BooXKeeping, I always tell them sky is the limit. I still interview everybody who comes in. I'm not the main part of the interview, but before somebody gets hired, everybody talks to me even for 15, 20 minutes. And I always tell people, hey, sky is the limit. Most people are like, yeah, sure. But these two took it seriously, and now they're my directors. They're my right-hand reports.
They're your super fans because they've been with you so long. They believe in it. And that's the thing about developing the right culture in the company, creating that energy where everybody's on the same mission, knows what the goals are, knows what the objectives are. They're empowered to make decisions. They don't have to run up to dad or mom and ask permission. They're going to make the right decision most of the time. And it's going to free you up to do what you need to do as a business owner or as a franchisee. I'm sharing this so that your franchisees also think about empowering their team so they can scale.
And I'm pushing them to scale, because when I see a franchisee doing the work themselves, I'm like, come on, you are big enough to hire help. You can concentrate. You can double this business if you work on it and not in it. Well, but if I start doing that, my margins will go down. I'm like, of course your margin is going to go down, because now I have to pay somebody. But when calculating your margins, you're not calculating your time. You're not looking at your salary, because you have to pay technically for the work you're doing. You have to pay yourself salary. Not legally, but that's the right accounting way of doing it. Otherwise, of course, your margins are great. They're like, oh, I'm profiting all this money. How many hours did you work last week? 70. How many weeks in a row can you do that? Oh, I'm young. I can do it. Are you going to be young all your life?
Right. You got to get out of the weeds and empower people. Hiring somebody, yeah, the margin is going to go down, but your volume is going to go up and your margin is going to return because of more business you can handle. You've got systems and teams in place. One or two people can only handle so much before you're capped and can't grow.
Yes.
So Max, as we come close to the end here, great conversation that we've had today, some great stories and some great insights for our listeners and some great takeaways. How can people connect up with you?
Well, I also wanted to mention that when we started selling BooXKeeping franchises, we realized that BooXKeeping franchise is not for everybody. And I understood that a lot of people, I was leaving them hanging just by telling them, nope, sorry, we're not a good match. So not so long ago, about a year ago, maybe less, we opened a franchise brokerage where we can help people to buy a franchise, not necessarily BooXKeeping, but I have a choice of over 600 franchises. And our services are completely free. We do not charge anything. We only get paid by a franchisor if somebody ends up buying. So we do get a good commission, but not only we not getting paid if somebody just talks to us and then leaves and ends up not buying, we're actually sharing part of our commissions. Everybody who buys through BooXKeeping gets a rebate from us and 9 months of sales training paid by us with the live trainer. If you buy a franchise through main entrance from a brokerage, we'll get the 9 months sales training that I'm paying for. To answer your question, the best way to get a hold of me depends if you want to do, doesn't matter if you want to do BooXKeeping, franchise, if you need bookkeeping for your company, or if you're interested in a franchise, is to go to franchisewithmax.com. And once you go on franchisewithmax.com, you'll be able to pick the area, how you want to talk to me, why you want to talk to me. I have teams in all of the businesses, so you'll talk to them first, and then eventually everybody ends up talking to me, and we can discuss and see if we're going to be a good match or not.
We'll make sure to put that into the show notes for our listeners and your contact information there. Thank you so much for your time today. And we look forward to having you on the show and continuing the conversation down the road.
I would love that. Thank you for the opportunity, Frederick.
Thank you, Max. Hey, superfan superstar, Freddie D here. Before we wrap, here's your 3A playbook, attract, advocate, and accelerate your business. Power move for today. Here's this episode's top insight. If you want to scale beyond survival mode, you must stop doing everything yourself and invest in building a true business that runs without you. So here's your business growth action step. Hire an executive assistant or key team member this week to take critical tasks off your plate and reclaim your time to focus purely on growth. If today's conversation sparked an idea for you, share it with the fellow business leader who would benefit and grab the full breakdown in the show notes. Let's accelerate together and start creating business superfans who not only champion your brand, but accelerate your growth.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Business Superfans podcast. If you found today's conversation valuable, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave us a review, and share this episode with someone who could use these powerful insights to level up their business. Remember, creating business superfans isn't just about your customers. It's about fostering genuine, impactful connections across your entire business ecosystem. When you invest in those relationships, success doesn't just happen, it accelerates. Until next time, I'm your host, Freddie D. Let's keep building superfans, creating unstoppable momentum, and driving your business toward extraordinary success. See you in the next episode.
We hope you took away some useful knowledge from today's episode of the Business Superfans podcast. The path to success relies on taking action. So go over to businesssuperfans.com and get your hands on the book if you haven't already. Join the Accelerator community and take that first step in generating a team of passionate supporters for your business. Join us on the next episode as we continue guiding you on your journey to achieve flourishing success in business.